It's a natural course of political event that to be in an office, you must have a level of experience. You must be an initiate. You must be some person who will not just learn the ropes for the first time. It is expected that one, you should have known for being a Senate President or Speaker or even a Speaker of the State House of Assembly. You should be a second timer or at least the highest ranking person, if not the highest rank, but experienced. Because you'll have to have a relationship with the executive, you'll have to have relationship with the ministers, you'll have to have the relationship with the heads of parastatals and so on. You'll also have to have relationship with your colleagues among themselves. You must have known of banana peels, and you know how, you imagine how you are going to avoid banana peels.
Right,
you know, so that is the experience.
Yes. So, I mean, since it wasn't always the case, I mean, we saw a list of Senate presidents who really necessarily were not ranking members who emerged Senate president.
Like which one?
Yeah, I mean, you saw some names that came up in that report.
I think there hasn't been any.
None
except in 1999.
Right.
Yes, except in 1999 when we were all new members.
Newbies. Okay.
Yes. We were all new. But after that, it has been the tradition. In 2003, we had a situation where new members were many, but not much. But so I think that was the time we now introduced ranking. And then in 2007, we had a question where the ranking was not very much defined in the House of Representatives. So I think by God's grace, I chaired the Rules and Business Committee. And so we defined ranking to be somebody who has been a member of the House of Representatives, ranking at the National Assembly level. So the ranking in the Senate, it's a little fluid. It's a little fluid because it has stated in Order 3, Rule 2 or Rule 1 that you'll have to be a ranking senator. It says that your reporter there, your correspondent read that it has to be among the ranking in accordance with ranking of senators, and it says the rank is senators returning based on number of times returning, senators who've been members of the House of Representatives, and lastly senators elected as senators for the first time.
So the
problem is that when you read Order 3, Rule 3A, at the proceeding, that is in the course of the proceedings on the floor, it says a senator-elect addressing the clerk shall propose another senator-elect to the Senate to be president of the Senate and shall move that such senator do take the chair as president of the Senate. It has said, look, it has been the ranking. But in giving the job to the members among themselves to nominate somebody, it did not say you have to nominate a ranking senator. And so that's where it's been fluid. But if you go to the House of Representatives, the rules of the House of Representatives, it says it's been a lot more specific and cogent. It says a member-elect addressing the clerk shall propose another member-elect with legislative experience as a member of the National Assembly to be speaker, and shall move that such do take the chair. In the House of Representatives, what we did was to specifically say that you must, if you are choosing, you must choose a member who has legislative experience, what the Senate rule book calls ranking in the National Assembly. If you came, because we had challenge of those who came from the House of Assembly and say, look, I was speaker, I'm also ranking, I was speaker of the State House of Assembly. So we had to be specific that if you were speaker or even governor there, even acting governor, you can't come to be speaker. Then there is something that happened in the state houses of assembly. They took this position, and the state house of assembly, I have studied about 14 of them. Last week we had a retreat orientation for Kwara State House of Assembly members, and one of the things that we discussed is we discovered that almost 14 houses of assembly have had this provision. If you look, this is Kwara State House of Assembly, standing orders of Kwara State House of Assembly. And they stated in their standing orders that a member-elect addressing the clerk shall propose another member-elect with at least state assembly legislative experience from the House to be speaker. You know, just copying the exact provision that we have in the standing orders of the House of Representatives.
So the clause, the experience comes to stand, I mean, a ranking member.
The experience in the legislative experience in that particular legislative house.
Yes. So now let me bring this in, because at the instance, so when they all come, even for those who are in the 9th Assembly presently, on the day, they all will be deemed as senators, members-elect.
Yes.
So the clerk is the big man there in the House who is going to say, okay, nominate any of your members and ask if there are any other nominees, and if there are none, the business starts. So on the day, is it also possible, because even though it is there in the rule book, there's also possibility that someone who is not ranking will be nominated?
I agree. I agree. That is in the Senate.
In the Senate. I'm looking at the rule book of the Senate.
In the Senate, because that is why I read that Order 3, Rule 3(1)(a), which says a member-elect rising, being recognized, can recognize, nominate another member-elect. It did not qualify it like the House of Representatives does, and the House of Assembly of Kwara State and about 14 other Houses of Assembly does. It qualifies it that you nominate a member with legislative experience in the House.
Now let me jump in here. Sorry to cut you. Let me jump in here. Now I'm just looking at the activities you just carried out with the Kwara State House of Assembly, which ultimately is the same that will happen with the National Assembly. Training, orientation. So with the orientation, because I'm looking at the first cause, good thing you're a lawyer, you're very sound with logic. There's a first cause, and the first cause was 1999, where we had people with no experience, and they all came, and they did well, whether you like it or not. So it's also a possibility that there's another first cause that will repeat itself in the 10th Assembly and say, look, ranking or no ranking, everyone is fit to go in there and do this job, because ultimately they will meet some people like yourself who will give them that orientation and training.
I will pray that it shouldn't happen. I really pray, because you definitely need an experienced person. There must have been, in fact, worst case scenario, not worst case scenario, a member of the House of Representatives.
How did you struggle? How was the struggle for the 1999 entrance into the National Assembly? Was there, a challenge?
In terms of understanding of the business of the legislature.
Most of us came with our experience. I was a member of Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, 92 to 93. Right. And then there were others who were in the 1993 Abacha National Assembly. There were others who were also in different spheres. The person we elected was Salisu Buhari, was the first speaker. He had no experience at all. He wasn't in any place, but it was zoned to Northwest. Northwest zeroed it on Kano. Kano packaged and brought amongst their best Salisu Buhari, until we had the issues that made him resign. And then Galium and Abba took over. Since after Galium and Abba took over, after Salisu Buhari, all of us became ranking. All of us became with legislative experience, because we started in the 1999. Then in 2003, we saw a surge that wanted to challenge us. We had to protect ourselves. And the surge became bigger in 2007. So we had to make the rules tighter to say must have had legislative experience as member of the National Assembly, because we had some persons who were clerk, who were like directors. I think one of them was a director of legal services, or who came, and I think one of them was almost a clerk in there. He came, so they all tried to. So we had to say as a member of the House of Representatives.
So now, very quickly, I would like you to still touch on that. Will it not be abridging the rights of a member to vote and be voted for when you insist that it must be, a ranking member that will emerge as Senate President? Just talk briefly about that. Then the calls for zoning. There are those who are saying, look, because we gave the highest number of votes, it is only proper that we are given the right of first refusal, if you like, to become the Senate President. Is it a fair call?
Section 60 of the Constitution has authorized the National Assembly to make its own rules. And by the last amendment of Section 60 sub 1 to 5, I hope I'm correct, it stated that in the amendment that was signed by President Buhari about 5 weeks ago, that the rules or standing orders of the Senate, of the immediate preceding Senate or House of Representatives, shall be the standing orders that would be used on the day of inauguration. The same thing applies to the House of Assembly. So it is deemed that the standing orders is already part of the Constitution. So it is a law, and being a law or a quasi-legislation, it is admitted and accepted by the Constitution. So it does not exclude, it does not infringe the right of any person. But what we're just talking about is the custom, the tradition, what is appropriate to be done.
Okay, that's
clear.
But
to avoid that means you can only escape it if you take actions that are politically correct. First, the party must come in. Second, because there is, like I read that provision in the standing orders of the Senate. It is fluid. It allows a member elect, because if a member elect raises his hand and the clerk recognizes him, he is not bound to nominate a cognate member or a ranking member. But in the House of Representatives or in the House of Assembly, he is bound to nominate a ranking member.
Right, very quickly.
And then the question of
zoning. Yes.
Zoning, I want to pray that this country is not a tripod, is 3 legs. This country stands on 6 legs of 6 zones. Let me commend the governors of the northern governors of the APC and the Progressive Governors Forum, who said that although they are the majority in APC in the north, let us give opportunity to the south, and in particular the southwest, so that they can produce the president. And they did that. Now, the southwest has gotten the president. The northeast has the vice president. 2 zones should be off now on this calculation, the southwest and the northeast. The south, and southeast should be allowed to produce the Senate president. We have the south now have the deputy Senate president. The southeast, as of today, does not have anything in this arrangement. The southwest has the vice president, and by virtue of the predominance of APC, they are also able to have the Speaker of the House of Representatives from Lagos, and then Vice President from Ogun State. So they have the 3. They have the 2 things. But it shouldn't repeat itself in this arrangement. Now, the Southeast is Nigeria is in a peculiar situation. So you must accommodate the Southeast principally, and accommodate the South principally. The South has been accommodated now as a deputy president of the Senate. But Southeast is absolutely empty. The North Central and Northwest should contend for the Speaker and Deputy President of the Senate, while the South and Southeast should contend for Senate President and Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. It should repeat what happens as a political, is almost a political tradition in Nigeria, that wherever the president comes from, the other arm of that zone takes the Senate President. When President Obasanjo of the Southwest was there, Southeast had the Senate President, and South had the Deputy Speaker. Okay. And then the same thing, the Speaker and Deputy Senate President went to the North Central and North East, as it were, like Lawan holds the position today. So I want us to do that, even if the Southwest can. I agree that the Northwest have a majority of basket votes that they can take, but let them not take, because you take in mind the unity of the country. Well, the governors set a good example, and the legislators should also follow. And I know that the incoming president, Tinubu, the president-elect, and the vice president-elect, Shetima, will ensure that justice is done to all the zones.